Algebra students, to the homework help video, page 6, numbers 7 through 34. Let's go ahead and get started with your homework in case you guys have some questions. Alright, here we go. Numbers 7 through 12, the directions say to decide which number is greater. Use a number line if you need to. Well, let me go ahead and do this very quickly. That's not what I want to do. Let me fix that real quick. Let me get a number line up here that I can copy and paste over and over if I need to. Alright, so there we go. And alright, here we go. Now, there's really no need to use a number line. Obviously, -3 is over here somewhere. Positive 1/2 is over here somewhere. Positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers, so the greater number is 1/2, okay? That's pretty obvious. Alright, moving on to number 8. 5, and then the fraction 2/3. Well, first of all, guys, look, obviously, 5 is going to be way over here, and you do not need to use a number line like I am, okay? I'm just doing this so you can see it. 2/3 would be here, 1 would be right here. Obviously, 5 is further to the right. 5 is the larger number, okay? Pretty simple stuff. Number 9. Now let's go ahead and get a decimal for the square root of 3. The square root of 3 is 1.7. Alright, the square root of 3 is 1.7. Now, obviously, the number 1 would be right here, and the number 1.7 would be right here, further to the right. So the greater number is 1.7, or square root of 3. And actually, I prefer that you use the original number in your answer, so the answer would be square root of 3. Number 10 will look, when one number's negative and one number's positive, we know right away the greater number's the positive number, so the answer would be square root of 2. Number 11, once again, if one number's negative and one number's positive, we know the greater number is always going to be the positive number, so the answer would be square root of 5. Number 12, well, we do not have a positive and a negative number, but we do have 0 right here, and the other number, of course, is a negative number. Now, I am not sure exactly what this decimal would be, but I know it's over here somewhere. It's a negative number, so the number further to the right is 0, so the larger number of these two numbers would be 0. Okay, numbers 13 through 16, we're going to write the numbers in descending order. Alright, so don't forget that. We're going to write these numbers in descending order. Now, my recommendation to you is to write numbers in decimals that are not whole numbers. So the square root of 3 is 1.7, so negative square root of 3 is really negative 1.7. 1/3, if you type into your calculator, 1 divided by 3 is 0.3. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these numbers in a number line. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Alright, 1, of course, I'm going to change colors here so we can see it. 1, of course, would be right here. -4 would be right here. Negative square root of 3 is negative 1.7. So here's -1, here's -2, negative 1.7 is about right there. Now above that, I'm going to go ahead and put negative square root of 3 so I don't forget what the original number was. 9, of course, is way over here somewhere. I'll just put 9 over here. And then 1/3 is 0.3, so about right here. 0.3, or in other words, 1/3, okay? Now, we're told to write these in descending order. In other words, we're going to go what? Down. If we're going to go down, we must start with the largest number to then work our way down. So the largest number would be 9. And the next largest number would be 1. And then 0.3, but we're going to use 1/3. And then negative square root of 3. And then -4. So there we go. That should match the answer right here. It looks like it does. And let's continue on. Number 14. Square root of 13 is going to be 3.6. 5 over 2 would be 2.5. 7 7/16 would be 0.4375, negative 0.4375, and then 1 and 10. So here we go. We'll just put some tick marks over here. And let's start plotting these numbers. Positive 3.6, 1, 2, 3. So 3.6 is about right here. Square root of 13. 5 halves would be 2.5. That's about right here. 2.5. And of course that's going to be 5 halves. Negative 7/16 is negative 0.4. So here's 0. Here's negative 1 right here. We're going to go to negative 0.4. So about right here, negative 0.43. And that's negative 7/16. And then 1, of course, is right here. And then 10 is way over here somewhere. So if we're going descending, start with the largest and work our way down. So 10, and then square root of 13 is next. Then 5 halves is next. And then 1 is next. And then negative 7/16. And that should match the answer. Let's make sure that it does. And it looks good. Okay, moving on to number 15. Here we go. This would be negative 2.5. Square root of 5 would be 2.24 rounded, so negative 2.24. And 3 over 2 is 1.5. So we'll get our lines up here real quick. Tick marks. And here we go. Negative 2.5, negative 1, negative 2. Negative 2.5 would be right here. And of course the original number is negative 5 halves. Don't forget, I want you to use the original numbers, not the decimal equivalents, when you write your answer. Negative 2.24. Now let's be careful here. I'm going to slide this down to give me a little room, okay? Decimals can be confusing, so here we go. Negative 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. So negative 2.24 would come to the right of negative 2.5, and that's negative square root of 5. And then of course we have positive 4. We have 0. And we have 1.5. Which is the same thing as 3 halves. Alright, so starting with the largest number, we have 4, then we have 3 halves, then we have 0, then we have negative square root of 5, and then we have negative 5 over 2, and hopefully that will be the right answer. And it looks good. Let's move on to number 16. Square root of 6 is going to have a decimal of 2.449 or 2.45, so negative 2.45. This is already a decimal, this is already a decimal, this is a whole number. 1/3 would be 0.3 repeating. So let's see what we have here. Okay, negative 20 of course is way over here somewhere, so I'll put a dot here and put negative 20. Next is negative 0.5, so here's 0, here's negative 1, so negative 0.5 is about right here. Negative 0.5. Next is negative 2.45, negative 1, negative 2, about right here. Negative 2.45, which is the same thing as negative square root of 6. And then 4.75, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.75. And then 0.3, which is about right here, which is 1/3. So here we go, starting from the right. My largest number is 4.75. Then my next number is 1/3. And then negative 0.5. And then negative square root of 6. And then negative 20. Let's check and make sure that's accurate. And it looks pretty good. Okay, moving on now. Numbers 17 through 24. They want us to write the correct property. Okay, now don't forget, you've got to tell me whether it's addition or multiplication, and then also what property we're dealing with. So here we go. Number 17. Now notice, guys, we have the parentheses being swapped. They were here. They were here around the 2 and the 4, and now they're around the 4 and the 9. Well, if you're looking at your notes, I gave an example of one of those. That's called the associative property. But hold it. Is it multiplication or addition? Obviously multiplication. So it's the associative property for multiplication. Okay. Number 18. Okay. We have 6 times 5 being the exact same thing as 5 times 6. Okay. So whenever you have two numbers are being multiplied and you swap places, we call that commutative. So it's the commutative property of multiplication or for multiplication. Number 19. Here we have 3 plus 1 is the same thing as 1 plus 3. You're turning the numbers around. Well, that's the commutative property for addition. Okay. Number 20. Okay, now anytime you get out a 1 when you're multiplying the two numbers together, we call that the inverse property. I gave these examples in your notes. So this is the inverse property for multiplication. Alright, 21. Okay, now here we're adding two numbers together and getting out 0. Anytime you multiply two numbers and get out a 1, that's the inverse property. Anytime you add two numbers and get out 0, that's the inverse property for addition. 22. Okay, notice we have parentheses around the 8 and the 7, and then they move to the 7 and the 2. Everything is adding. Everything is adding. So we call that obviously the associative property for addition. Associative property for addition. All right, number 23. Now, be careful and watch this. You added 2 outside of parentheses. You take the 2 and multiply it through. 2 times 3. Then multiply the 2 times the 12. 2 times 12. This was a trickier one, but it's the distributive property. Okay? The distributive property. I don't care about the left and the right, but it's just the distributive property. Alright, number 24. We have 9 times 1. Anytime you have a number and you multiply it by a number, and it's done in such a way that you get out the original number. You started with 9. You started with 9, ended up with 9. That's called the identity property. The identity property of multiplication. Alright, 25. Okay, now we're just going to be adding some numbers. This is pretty easy and we should be done pretty quickly here. So here we go. You can use a calculator or do it in your head. If you add 64, sum means add. So if you add 64 plus 5, you will get 59. 26. If you add, remember this means to add. So if you add negative 14, negative 7, you will get negative 21. This means subtract. Now make sure you write it in the same order. It's negative, or in the correct order, it's negative 18 minus a positive 6. Okay? Negative 18. Difference means subtract. So negative 18 minus a positive 6. That will give you a negative 24. Negative 24. Alright, moving on to number 28. Subtract again. Now be careful, watch your signs. You can use a calculator or do it in your head. That's up to you. We have 4, then minus, because of a difference, a negative 7. Well, negative gives you a positive, so you really have 4 plus 7, which is 11. Okay, or you can use a calculator, it's up to you. Okay, product, obviously, positive times the positive is positive. 12 times 2 is 24. Number 30. 16, well, negative times the positive is negative, and 16 times 3 is 48. So the answer is negative 48. Alright, number 31. Quotient means divide. So I have 3 divided by 1/2. Okay, now you can use your calculator. Excuse me. Or you can work it out longhand. 3 divided by 1/2 is the same thing as 3 times, and you flip the second number. 2 over 1. Well, 3 times 2 over 1 is 6 over 1, or obviously 6. Number 32. Again, quotient means divide, so 16 divided by 4/3. That's the same thing as 16 times, and you flip the second fraction 3/4. Now you can use a calculator or do it longhand. 16 over 1 times 3 over 4. The 4 would cancel into 16 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. So the answer would be 12. Okay, now, number 33. In 1990, the 10 National Football League coaches with the most wins are listed in regular season games in 1990 are listed in alphabetical order. Let's order the coaches in decreasing order. Now, if we're going to decrease, that means we're going to go what? Down. And if we're going to go down, that means we have to start with the largest number. So let's find the largest number here and cross it off. Okay, the largest number is 319. Well, it says order the coaches, so I guess I would put Hallis. George Hallis would be first. There should be a 1 here. Now the next largest number would be 269. So that should be Don Shula as number 2. The next biggest number is 250. So Tom Landry should be number 3. The next biggest number is 226. That's number 4. Now we're in the 100s. Let's see what's the biggest 100 number. 166. Looks like this is. So Paul Brown should be number 5. The next biggest 100 number. Actually, did I mess up? What is Chuck Noll here? Okay, I'm back, guys. I really feel like the book made a mistake here. The biggest 100 number is 177. I feel like this should be number 5. Then this should be number 6. Okay. And the next biggest 100 number is this. That should be 7. And this one should be 8. And then this one 9. And then this one 10. Okay. So guys, that's really easy. We just listed them from the largest down to the smallest, okay? And then it says who is pictured in what coach is in the picture. Well, if you look at the picture in your book, it says this NFL coach had the most wins. Well, that's obviously number 1, George Hallis. So that's a picture of him. All right, number 34. All right, it says to order the cities in increasing order. Now, if we're going to increase, that means we're going to have to go up. And if we're going to go up, we're going to have to start with the what? The smallest number first. So, by the way, I grew up in Ohio, and so this is kind of the temperatures we had. Wind chill factor, it would be negative 20 sometime with the wind chill factor. So, all right, the lowest, the lowest number is negative 43. Now the next number would be, I'm looking, negative 26. The next number would be negative 25. That'd be number 3. And then the next one would be negative 22. That'd be number 4. And let's see, any other negatives. Negative 7 would be next, is number 5. And then negative 1 would be 6, okay? Now we're into the positives. So 0 would be next. And then 2 degrees would be next. We're working our way up. And then 17 would be next. And then 35 would be next. Okay, so that's it, guys. Pretty much numbering those in order. I think that's pretty simple to do. Ordering them from smallest to largest, or in other words, increasing order. Okay, I hope this homework help video has been a help to you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call or email.